All right, hi everyone. Hopefully you can hear me. If not, the technology is not working. If so, let's get moving. There's going to be hiccups because of the new technology, but hopefully it's nothing too major. So let's go ahead with this one, two-step equation. Take 4 away from both sides. 2x equals 6. Divide both sides by 2. X equals 3. So just think, what is keeping X or Y from being alone? In the next one, subtracting 2 is, get rid of the 2 by adding it to both sides. So you have Y over 4 equals 20. That 4 is dividing currently, so I'm going to do its inverse and multiply by 4 on both sides. 20 times 4 is 80. You can always check your work. Is 80 divided by 4 minus 218? Well, 80 divided by 4 would be 20. 20 minus 2 is 18. So yes, it is. So here's the most annoying hiccup. I have to do like 3 clicks and an eraser thing to clear the screen every time. But I'm getting a little faster at it. Wish I could just click one button and have a clean screen. There must be a way to do that. If you know how to do that, comment below. And again, you should have already tried these problems and now you're checking them for best results. Multiply by 3, because let's get rid of that denominator first. 11 times 3, negative 4m plus 5 equals 11 times 3, 33. Both sides of the equation. Now the thing furthest away from the variable is 5. Let's get rid of that 5. 5 minus 5 is 0. That's why it goes away. 33 minus 5 is 28. I'm going fast on these, not because these are easy. I've already done these problems before. Okay, so if this is the first time you're looking at these, you should have another go around at these problems. 28 divided by negative 4 be negative 7. Less jokes today because I'm racing the clock. So apologies to those who tuned in to see the usually hilarious Mr. Cunningham and have the rushing to get to volleyball practice version of me. All right, that's loading. Good. I was a little nervous there as I was erasing. Buying time for these things to load. If my words on here aren't quite all loading, please refer to your own version. There we go. Okay. If that same delay that's happening to me isn't happening to you, then this just sounds like me complaining. So I'll move on. Okay. If we want to get W alone, okay, we just treat W the same way that we would treat. I'm going to rewrite this just so I got some room. Basically, we're just saying right now, if we had W, we could plug it into this equation. If we had the weeks, we could figure out the dollars pretty quickly. Now we want to have a second version of this equation so that if we had it the other way around, we could solve it. So take 240 away from both sides. I know that seems weird. D minus 240. What is D minus 240? Well, it's just D minus 240. You can leave it as that. Okay, so now you have negative 20 times the amount of weeks and take the dollars, take 240 away, negative 20 gets divided here. And then, so you've got W all by itself on the left-hand side. Over here, you now have negative 20. Now, if you wrote D minus 240 divided by negative 20, you wouldn't be wrong. I would say that maybe you're just incomplete. Like we want to kind of finish this process here. And we would write D over negative 20. That can pretty much just stay how it is. Negative divided by a negative turns into a positive. 240 divided by 20 is 12. Now you can figure out weeks if you're given dollars, and if you're given dollars, you can figure out weeks pretty quickly. Let's see what we're given here. How long would it take for Katie to be out of money? Well, that would mean she would have $0, right? So I think I'll just keep this as 240 minus. Well, actually, if I think about it a little more with a little more detail, I would probably do it the other way around. But since I started this way, we can finish this way. All right, so instead of D, let's change that D into a 0, right? Find out when we're out of money. Take 240 away. So we've got negative 240 over here. And we've pretty much already done this part. Divide by negative 20, negative 240 divided by negative 20. Basically, how many weeks would it take for you to lose $240 if you were losing $20 at a time? W equals 12, which we did up above. So if we would have just stuck with this equation, weeks equals dollars divided by negative 20 plus 12, right? 0 divided by negative 20, 0 plus 12. That means the weeks would have been equal to weeks. Let's try it that way this time. So if I have the equation weeks equals dollars, in this case 100, divided by negative 20 plus 12. Let's see if this works here. I think it will. Right, 100 divided by negative 20 would be negative 5. Negative 5 plus 12 would give me the amount of weeks. So the weeks in this case would be 7. 7 weeks to end up having $100 in your account because you started with 240, right? You lost $140 in 7 weeks, $20 at a time. Makes sense. All right. On to the next one. Okay, sorry to pause for technical difficulties there. Watch is bugging me too. Let's get this thing out of here. Okay, slope, y-intercept, x-intercept. I think slope is the toughest to find from standard form. I'm going to rewrite the equation, which will be given to you on the test. Negative a over b. I'm going to write that there to use later. But for the y-intercept, I need to remember that for all y-intercepts, x equals 0. So I'm going to rewrite this equation with no x's involved, just 2y equals 32. Solve for that. Divide by 2 on each side. Y equals 16. So the y-intercept would be 0, 16. Let's separate these. Oh, I'm going to have to erase those later. Okay, the x-intercept, that's when y equals 0. Okay, so get rid of all the y's. Now all we have is 8x equals 32. Okay, divide by 8 on each side. X equals 4. So the 2 points that I have on here are 4, 0 and 0, 16. Slope. Now, if I had a graph, I would just put these points, count my slope. That's what I would do. But given this right here, let's take negative a. So negative 8 divided by 2, which is b. This is a. This is b. Negative 8 divided by 2. That slope equals negative 4. And it makes sense for me to be there because I would, if I were at 0, 16 on my graph, say I were up here, it would take me to get to 4, 0, right? The concept of what the slope is. Down 4 over 1, do that 4 times, and then I would end up here, right? So that's the concept of why we're doing that sort of thing. Okay, let's move on to some more similar problems. Put in the comments below, what color pen do you prefer me to use? I chose green today for no particular reason. Green means go. Halloween-ish color when mixed with purple, Frankenstein style. All right, enough small talk. Same stuff, y-intercept, x equals 0. So 2y equals -14. Yes, I'm going fast. Yes, you can pause it. Yes, you can watch it slow. Divide by 2. Y equals -7. So the point I have here is 0, -7. X-intercept, y equals 0. That means we're on the x-axis. Okay, so we have -3x equals -14. We did this one in class. It doesn't give us a pretty fraction, but negative makes it a positive. So you could either leave it as 14 over 3 if it's already simplified, which that is. It doesn't look like it, but it is. I prefer with a number like that to actually do 14 divided by 3. 4.6 recurring. That would be the x, y being 0. The slope, these are the, remember, negative a over b. Maybe we should say opposite of a, because especially when the a is already a negative, you're like, oh, -3. Okay, cool. Just keep it -3. But we need the opposite of -3, which ends up being 3 divided by b, which is 2. Slope of 3 over 2. So in standard form, again, you might be wondering, like, why to do this. So if we put this in slope-intercept form, we got the 3x over to this side. 3x. We would have 2y equals 3 x. Lost my place. Okay, -14. Sorry about that. And we would divide that by 2, leaving us a slope of 3 over 2, which we just proved we have, and a y-intercept of -14 divided by 2, which is -7. All right, next. And stick around for the very end. We practiced graphing slope-intercept in class, but I didn't include it on the review if you're in my class. Hopefully the other classes tuning in, your teachers did a better job of printing the slope-intercept on the review than I did, but I've included some of those at the end here so that we can get plenty of practice out of it. Speaking of plenty of practice, feels like we've done a lot of these. Like I said, we're running short on time, so I'll trust that you can do the third one. Sorry, folks. But don't worry. It doesn't mean we're not doing them anymore because we have another pretty similar problem. Okay, raising money to sell popcorn and Gatorade. 3 per bag of popcorn, 150 per Gatorade. Okay, so if X is popcorn, I would just go ahead and write the X right there, right next to popcorn, 3X. And 150 per Gatorade, that's Y. So I've got 3X, $1.50 Y, and I'm trying to raise $60. Calculate the x-intercept, that is y equals 0, right? So that's saying if I had 3x equals 60, that is that equation without any y's, and you divide it by 3, well, I would get x equals 20. It says, what does this mean? What does this mean? Well, this means, 20. This means that if I sold 0 Gatorades, if I sold 0 Gatorades, I could make the $60 with 20 popcorns. Okay. What about the y-intercept? Well, again, we're rewriting this. We would then have 150 y equals 60 because that's saying 0 x's. Okay. Divide by 150. What does this mean? 60 divided by 1.5 would be 40. That means if I only sold Gatorade, if I only sold Gatorade, I need to sell 40 to make $60. You guys think your handwriting's bad? No, I see you. Me too. Okay. This is a big problem. A lot going on here. So, oh no, where's my eraser? There it is. Okay. All right, we have a grid. I've added a bonus question on here because I want to make sure everybody is versed on this sort of thing. Come on, grid, show up. If you all are looking at a full grid, realize I am not. Okay, the grid above, you need to make sure that you're labeling the axes properly, right? So popcorn was on the X, like we said. Popcorn on the X. Gatorade, let's see how my sideways writing skills are. Not great, but not terrible. Okay, so we have popcorn. We just said that we had sold, if we sold 20 popcorns, we can make $60. We also, so that's where 20 comes in, the x-intercept. Okay. And if we just sold Gatorades, we would have to sell twice as many. Makes sense? For half the price. Okay. Connect those lines. Okay, I have a line feature on here. Booyah. Whoa. Everything on that line represents what happens if you actually mix and match what you're selling. Okay. Like, for example, I added this question. What does the point 1020 mean in the context of this problem? 1020, that means you would sell 10 popcorns, 20 Gatorades if you sold 10 popcorns, just write pop, 20 Gatorades, we would make that $60. Well, how? 10 times popcorn, 3, 30. 10, or sorry, 20 times the Gatorade, $1.50, also 30. $60. So you could sell all popcorn and no Gatorades, all Gatorades and no popcorn, or a mixture of them to make this money. That's what the line represents, what you could sell at what rate. Okay. On to the next. Clear page. Oh man, if this clears and move Oh, okay. If this takes away my whole document, I'm going to be sad. But I think it's just going to take away my writing. Let's see. Oh, it took away the whole document. Pause for technical difficulties. We're back. I knew that button was too good to be true. All right. More solving. You guys can do it. Let's go. Add 2 to both sides. Gosh, after doing these so many times, it feels like we've already done it. Well, because I have. And hopefully you have as well. 12 divided by 4, 3. All right. 9 is keeping x from being alone. Let's get rid of it. 4x equals negative 20. 4 is multiplying by the x, so let's divide. Now we have x equals negative 5. Now I'm going fast. Pause and go back if you need to. All right, both these problems involve distributing and parentheses. I'm going to do one method one way. Number 3, there's 2 different ways to approach this, what I'm trying to say. I'm going to do both methods and you can decide what works best for you. Number 3, okay, we have a 3 touching the parentheses, so distribute it. 3 times x, 3 times negative 2. So you have 3 times x is 3x, 3 times negative 2, negative 6. So now you have 18 equals 3x minus 6. We have a 2-step equation that now we can add 6 to both sides. 24 equals 3x. Divide both sides by 3. Now, some of you may have decided, hey, I don't like distributing and then later dividing. Okay, maybe you would just like to divide at the very beginning to get rid of that number, which I'll show you you can do over here. I want to get rid of that 5. I don't want to have to divide by it later, so I'll just divide by it now. Get rid of it. That means now I just have 7x plus 5. I divided negative 10 by 5, so now I have negative 2. Take 5 away from both sides. 7x equals negative 7. Whichever way you decide works best for you, doesn't matter as long as you figure it out. But what you have to do on the test is show whichever method you are using. You can't just put an answer in there. Okay, you'll miss points. Okay. Couple more solvings, and like I said, I have a little bonus stuff in there for you. Now, we put one like this on here is because we don't just take away the number that's on the left-hand side, even if it's on the right-hand side, the number on the same side as x, that's furthest away, get rid of that. 53 minus 5, 48. Divide both sides by 4. 12 equals x. Okay. So these are similar problems. It's just a different order. I don't want you to be thrown off by a curveball like the negative 5 being out here in front. That's what we have to get rid of first. So x over 7 equals 7. Get rid of that denominator by multiplying. Multiply both sides. Should draw another line there. So x equals 49. All right, bonus feature. Wah, 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 wah. Bonus. We have some things that, at least for my class, these are not on the review packet, but knowing how to graph slope-intercept equations, you're going to need to know how to do it on the test. We've done it in class, but we didn't have it. I didn't put it on the review. Should have, but nobody's perfect. Okay. Good news is it should be pretty quick. What's the slope of this function? Well, that's the number touching the x because we're in slope-intercept form. Slope is -1/2. That's m. What is the y-intercept? 3, aka 0, 3. Remember, the y-intercept is where you start. Go to 0, 3, and then do what the slope told you to do. Go down and make sure when you go down 1, and then over 2. Down 1, over 2. Down 1, over 2. If you're going in the opposite direction, up 1, to the left 2. Okay, so you should have a line. See that fancy dancy line feature again. That connects. Okay, the whole point of these equations to make a line. All right. Last one, another bonus. Just wanted to add one of these because I know you've seen them before, but for some reason they give a lot of people trouble when we don't have online. You're supposed to go away too. Guess I didn't realize that the lines didn't go away the same way. I hit delete. Well, it worked. Ooh, maybe delete will work next time. Stop making lines. Sorry. Okay, slope of the function. We have x. It's all alone. That's like saying 1x, aka 1/1. So the slope is 1. The y-intercept, -4, not just 4. 0, -4. 0, -4. Good news about slopes of 1. They go up 1/1. Be exact with your graphs on the test. Can't just draw a line and say, oh, it's good enough. It needs to actually connect the dots and make sense. Okay, that's all. Good luck on your test. Watch the review video. Make sure everything's right on your review. Hand that in, and you will do great. Bye, everyone.